In a small village wrapped in silence as tightly as it was encircled by dense forests, a child was born. His mother named him Hassan. His birth was ordinary, until the truth began to grow with him. When he reached his early years, his mother noticed what no one should ever have seen. Two small horns slowly breaking through his head, quiet, delicate, yet powerful enough to overturn an entire life. Her heart trembled with fear, not of the horns themselves, but of people, of their stares, their whispers, their cruelty when faced with what they do not understand. So she decided to hide the truth from the world, to make scarves and hats a wall between her son and others. She would say to him, "You are different, Hassan, but difference is not a flaw. The flaw lies in a world that cannot see beyond appearances." Hassan grew up carrying a secret heavier than his age. He learned how to walk carefully, how to bow his head just enough, how to watch eyes before they noticed him. At school, a large hat never left his head. With time, he became skilled at hiding, but his heart never hid. He felt the weight of alienation as he watched children laugh and run freely, while he lived as if he were a mistake that had to be concealed. He found freedom only in the forest. There, far from people, he would remove his hat and run as he pleased. And there, something unexpected happened. The animals did not flee from him. Deer approached. Birds settled nearby. Even young wolves looked at him without fear, as if the forest understood what humans could not, that his horns were not a curse, but a sign. Years passed, and Hassan became a strong adolescent, clear-hearted, sharp-minded. Yet the hat remained upon his head, heavy and suffocating, his final shield in a world that had never shown him mercy. One day, a traveling circus arrived in the village, laughter, lights, and magic. During the show, one of the circus magicians noticed Hassan among the crowd. He stared for a long time, longer than he should have. After a brief conversation with Hassan's mother, he said, "The world changes only through those who are different. Your existence is a message, not a shame." The mother, startled, asked, "How did you know, when he hides his horns from everyone?" The magician smiled calmly and replied, "Did you forget that I am a magician?" That day marked the beginning of transformation. Hassan began to remove his hat gradually, first before small audiences, then larger ones. For the first time, no stone was thrown at him, no scream chased him, only wonder, amazement, and silence. Until the day something broke inside him. A man from the village, named Masood, stepped forward, laughed mockingly, and said before everyone, "What a little animal living among us." He laughed, and some dead hearts laughed with him. Hassan returned home in tears. He removed his hat and swore never to return to the circus, never to face the world again. A week later, Masood was found dead in the nearby forest. No witnesses, no clear traces. The case was recorded, against an unknown culprit. Hassan withdrew from people, choosing solitude and the nearby forest as his refuge. He soon noticed something strange. Every time he touched his horns, he felt an energy flowing from them, like a gentle warmth, subtle yet overwhelmingly powerful. At first, he thought it was merely a new sensation. But as days passed, he discovered that this energy enabled him to do things he had never even dreamed of. When he focused his mind, he could hear voices from incredibly far away, even sounds coming from forests several kilometers beyond the village. He could see in pitch-black darkness. And when he touched trees or stones, he felt what they had lived through, as though they carried hidden memories from long ago. At first, Hassan felt confused and afraid. But he decided to learn how to control this power. Every day, he practiced in the forest, far from human eyes, trying to understand the horns and the forces they held. One night, while wandering near the river, strange beings appeared before him, like spirits no one had ever seen before. They spoke to him in a single, collective voice. "Hassan, the horns are not merely an appearance. They are an ancient legacy. You have been chosen for this mission." Then he woke up in terror. The dream returned, again and again, over several nights. One day, while Hassan was wandering through the forest, he drew near a massive, ancient tree, its roots twisted with age, as though guarding a buried secret that had slept for centuries. He gently placed his hand upon the trunk, and suddenly felt something strange flowing through him. A faint warmth, yet deep and resonant, as if the tree carried a hidden memory from a distant past. And then, He saw a man sitting beneath the tree. But he was no ordinary man. He bore 2 small horns, just like Hassan's, and his face was filled with wisdom and mystery, as though time itself had come to rest within him. Hassan's heart trembled. He pulled his hand away from the tree. In the blink of an eye, the man vanished, as if he had never existed at all. Yet curiosity proved stronger than fear. Hassan stepped closer once more and placed his hand upon the tree again. The same man appeared, sitting there, gazing at him in calm silence. He repeated the motion several times. Each time, the man appeared, and each time, Hassan felt a mysterious bond drawing him toward him. Unable to keep this secret to himself, Hassan ran home to his mother. He told her everything, from the vision of the horned man to the strange sense of mystery surrounding it all. She listened with awe and fear, yet she was not entirely surprised. She had always known her son was different, but she had never imagined that he carried an ancient legacy. The mother decided to seek counsel. She and Hassan traveled to the neighboring village to consult the great and wise elder, a man who had known the secrets of villages and trees for hundreds of years. The old man listened calmly, his eyes glinting when he heard mention of the horned man. Then he spoke in a voice heavy with wisdom. "Listen, Hassan, you carry a legacy unseen by our eyes. The man you saw is your 15th great-grandfather. Centuries ago, he bore horns like yours. He lived in peace and wisdom and safeguarded the secret of your family's power. That power has now been gathered within you, to complete his legacy and to pass on the wisdom he carried." Hassan stared in amazement and asked, "So, I carry the same power he did?" The elder smiled and replied, "Yes, these horns are not merely an appearance, they are a sign that your soul is bound to a long and ancient history." Hassan hesitated before asking, "What should I do now?" The old man answered softly, yet with profound meaning, "Ask your dreams, and they will answer you." Then the elder fell silent and spoke no more. That night, Hassan dreamed the same dream once again. But this time, a mysterious woman appeared in the dream, standing beside a rock where he often sat. Suddenly, Hassan awoke, his heart pounding, his eyes searching the darkness, where reality had begun to blur with legend. Hassan went out at noon, when the sun stood at the heart of the sky, as if it wished to witness with its own eyes what was about to unfold. He took the familiar forest path, but this time he was not fleeing. This time, his destination was the rock. The place was unnaturally still. No wind, no birdsong. Hassan stood behind an ancient tree, and something deep within him whispered, "Wait." Moments later, the gazelle appeared. It was not running, but walking with steady, deliberate steps. It moved toward the rock, and began to dig beside it. The soil loosened, and a small, ancient box emerged, as though time itself had forgotten it there. The gazelle took a folded letter from the box, and the moment it touched it, the body changed. The form of the gazelle dissolved, and in its place stood a woman. She sat upon the rock, holding the letter in her hands, as if confirming words written long ago. In that instant, Hassan rushed out from behind the tree without thinking. Their eyes met. The woman recoiled, her eyes widened in astonishment. Yet she uttered not a single word. In the blink of an eye, she vanished into the air, as though she had been nothing more than a thought. The letter fell to the ground. Hassan stepped forward slowly, and picked it up with a trembling hand. A strange warmth flowed through his body. The moment his fingers touched the paper, he did not open it. He hurried home, entered upon his mother, and placed the letter before her without a word. The mother opened it, and as soon as she began to read, her face changed. The words were strange, names unheard for centuries. Talk of the horns, of the forest, of the man who was killed, and of an ancient pact left unfinished. She lifted her eyes to Hassan, and said in a hushed voice, "This letter will reveal everything." The mother sat beside Hassan, placed the letter between them, and began to read. The words were ancient, yet alive, as though the one who had written them had not yet died. The letter spoke of a man named Nadim, Hassan's 15th forefather. He was neither a sheikh, nor a leader. He was an outcast, poor, and horned. The people of his village feared him, called him a devil, and saw in his difference an omen of misfortune. So he left them, and went into the forest, to live where souls are not measured by appearances. Nadim settled beneath a great tree. and built from its branches a small wooden shelter. Not merely a house of wood, but a refuge for a long solitude. The forest did not reject him. Animals came close to him, trusted him, and loved him, and in return, he became their guardian. He protected the forest from hunters, and removed their traps. One day, he found a snare set with 3 gazelles caught within it. He cut the net, and freed them. From that day on, the gazelles no longer fled from him. They became his companions, and to the animals, he became the forest's keeper. Anyone who thought of hunting found Nadim lying in wait. He did not kill, nor harm them. He merely struck them with a wooden arrow. Hunters returned to their villages saying, "The forest is inhabited, filled with spirits." Nadim lived for 100 years. When his time came, he sat beneath the very tree that had sheltered him the first time, and died there, and no one knows where he was buried. Before closing his eyes, he wrote this letter. In it, he prayed to God to send, every 1,000 years, a young man who would carry the same traits, the same spirit, and the same horns. Hassan was not his grandson by blood, for Nadim had no children. He was a grandson shaped by events and by time. When the mother finished reading, she lifted her eyes to Hassan, and said in a trembling voice, "We must go." To the tree, they went together into the forest. When they arrived, the mother suddenly stopped. She stared at the tree for a long moment, then gasped and said, "Now I remember. 15 years earlier, she had come to this village with her husband in search of work. They were exhausted, so they sat to rest beneath this very tree. And there, her labor began. They settled in the village. A week later, Hassan was born, and days after that, his father died. Hassan grew up an orphan. The mother fell silent, then looked at her son, with the tender gaze of a mother filled with love. The mother closed her eyes, folded her hands over her chest, and prayed to God with a plea born from a heart worn down by fear. "O Lord, do not let my son meet the fate of Nadim. Do not leave him alone, nor an outcast." Before her tears could fully fall, a strange sound cut through the silence. The chopping of wood. She opened her eyes suddenly. The sound was no illusion, nor a whisper of the forest, but clear strikes of an axe, close by. She looked at Hassan, and he looked back at her. Together, they walked toward the sound. Deep in the forest, they found a man standing before a large tree, quietly chopping wood, as though the place was neither inhabited nor frightening. The mother spoke cautiously, "Are you not afraid of this forest? They say it is haunted." The man paused, wiped his brow, and smiled confidently. "I have been chopping wood here for 20 years, he said, "and no harm has ever touched me." Then added calmly, "I do not follow superstitions. I remember God's name whenever I enter the forest." He looked at Hassan, then at the mother, and said, "I live in the neighboring village, with my only daughter." He paused for a moment, then said, "My name is Nadim." Time seemed to freeze. The mother and Hassan exchanged silent, heavy looks of astonishment. No questions were needed. The man regarded them with curiosity and asked, "And what brings you here?" At that moment, they found themselves telling him about the letter, the tree, the first Nadim, the horns, the inheritance, and the prayer. They felt no fear, no hesitation, as if the words had been waiting for this very man. Nadim listened quietly. He neither laughed, nor denied it. When they finished, he simply said, "Come to my house." They went with him. Over the days, Hassan began working with him in the wood trade. He learned patience, and that wood, like people, if you do not understand the direction of its grain, it will break in your hands. Hassan grew to love his uncle Nadim, trusted him, and felt for the first time that a man could stand by his side without question. Hassan grew up, and married Nadim's daughter. They lived simply, happily, and in peace. The forest remained, and so did the secrets, and the horns, but they were no longer a curse. One evening, Uncle Nadim said, looking at Hassan, "Good hearts prevail in the end." Hassan smiled. In the forest, the leaves of the ancient tree moved quietly, as if an old spirit had finally found peace. A year later, they were blessed with a child, whom they named Nadim. He had no horns, but he was a beautiful, natural child.